Hello and welcome everyone. So, Game Informer has released a 12-minute video of Chapter 5 in Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I want to check it out and give my opinions on things. I've already seen it a few times, but I want to watch it here and just sort of give my thoughts on things as we go through them. Now, Game Informer, in their video, they have commentary going on throughout the video, and so if you want to check that out, I will have a link in the description of the original video by Game Informer so that you can also check that one out as well. But let's go ahead and get this started. So I really like how this starts off. You're in the church, you're getting Ashley, and they're utilizing the stealth mechanic. A couple of Ganados just burst through the front door, and that's really cool because it was always kind of weird how in the original game, you just go in the church and you get Ashley after you solve a color puzzle, and that's all you have to do. Nobody's guarding Ashley at all. And that was always sort of strange because even like the gates that are blocking the door to Ashley, they weren't originally down. That was caused by Ada when she's ringing the bell. So it is kind of cool that you have to be stealthy now because Ganados have burst through the church doors. It also makes me wonder, when will we meet Sadler in this version? Because this is usually the point when we would meet him, but instead they're being stealthy and escaping through a window. So I will be interested to see when that happens, because the next time that they would interact with each other in the original game, I believe, was when Luis gets killed in the castle. And this is really cool too. I like how Hunnikin, when you communicate with her now, it's no longer taking up the screen where you see both of the characters communicating. Instead, it's doing a lot more like what Resident Evil 6 did, where you would communicate with Hunnikin in that game, but you could still move around and explore the area that you were in. The only difference with this one is that she pops up as like a little mini screen right there, so you can kind of see Hunnikin as well. I really like that. Got some classic treasures and stuff like that. Wouldn't be a Resident Evil game without treasures. Gotta have that, of course. This atmosphere is looking really good. I really like the way the weather looks and everything. The rain effect. Many people have already talked about that. Because I don't think there was ever a point in the original game. Oh wait, never mind. I take that back. I was about to say I don't think there was a point that the original game there was rain, but there actually was. I remember now. I cannot wait to explore that stealth mechanic. That looks like it's going to be so much fun, because that's going to add so much replay value. There's so many different ways that you can go about this now that there's a stealth mechanic. So I'm looking really forward to it. It is kind of funny though that like they were being so stealthy a moment ago, and now it's just like guns blazing. Let's just start popping caps in everybody. And it's also really cool that Ashley still gets carried off. That was something that I was kind of wondering, because with these newer Resident Evil games, there's no load areas like there was in the original, at least not to the extent that there was in the original games. And so I was kind of curious if they would still run off with her or not, and it seems like they will. And I'm kind of glad that that's the case. I didn't want Ashley to become like this, gun blazing partner all of a sudden. Like, oh, here's a gun, now you have skill and everything. Like, she's supposed to be someone being rescued. At the most, she can carry like a melee weapon or something. And I actually made a video talking about that. The running mechanic seems really nice. They actually look like they're running, unlike Ethan Winters and his slow, tanky self. The merchant. Who doesn't love a good merchant? I love that his face is hidden. Like, you can't even see his face, so like, we're not going to get the red eyes randomly halfway through the game like we did in the original game. Or maybe we will. Who knows? Maybe we'll have like some glowing red eyes in the darkness of his hooded face. The classic Red 9 that people love. I really hope my favorite handgun is in here, the Blacktail. I haven't done any research on what guns will or will not be featured in the remake, so fingers crossed for the Blacktail, because that was always my favorite gun in Resident Evil 4. And really Resident Evil in general, the Blacktail is up there for me. That Red 9 does look nice. That is such a good looking gun. And I love that they got the mechanic now of being able to smoothly transition from one weapon to the other. I believe that was something that was introduced in Resident Evil 5. That was one of the improvements that 5 had over 4. And so, can't wait to be able to not have to pause every single time I want to switch weapons. That's going to be really nice. Gosh, look at this wind. Like, the rain's one thing, but the wind, jeez. I actually kind of wonder, will that interfere with stealth mechanics in any sort of way? Like, could the wind, by some chance, if it's blowing towards your enemy, could it like alert them that you're nearby or something? I don't know. That will be kind of interesting to see if that plays a factor, because that wind is very intense. That was something that was missing from the original game. And I really like it too, because it just brings out the atmosphere even more so. Okay, so now we're like in a cabin area. I like this. This brings in a very horror driven moment, because you can't really see much. You can only see what the flashlight is allowing you to see. It's very RE2 like in that sense. Now, I'm fine with like random cabins and stuff like that being like this, but I'm going to be really disappointed if we get to the Salazar Castle and 90% of it is pitch black. I want us to be able to see inside of the Salazar Castle. It's okay if there's a few rooms here and there, maybe a few hallways here and there that are dark for that horror element, but for the most part, I want to be able to see the castle. I don't want it to just be completely dark. That was something that I did not like about the police station in Resident Evil 2 Remake, was that there were too many areas that were just pitch black. I want to be able to actually enjoy the art of these areas, so we shall see. The Woofs. I forget what their actual names are, but it's cool to see that they're back in the game. Something I was actually thinking about is, a lot of people are concerned if the dog will be in this one, like the one that you can save and it will help you in the El Gigante fight. I just thought, but like, what if Capcom really decides to be cruel and have it where it gets infected and you have to take it down? Like, oh boy. Nobody would forgive Capcom if they pulled that. I also like how you can like do the little finisher with the knife. They do that a lot in this gameplay trailer. And our blue gems. So guess that means the Punisher will be back, or will the merchant reward us with a different weapon this time? Luis. Kind of cool. You got Luis over here yelling for us to come to the cabin instead of Leon being like, we're sandwiched in, let's head for the cabin. And this is also really interesting. Leon has a little beef towards Luis, which makes sense because in the original game, this was the second time that they met. The first time they were tied up together, and then Luis just runs off. So it would make sense that Leon would kind of react this way rather than how he did in the original, where he just sort of trusts Luis and is chill with him like they've known each other all this time. Slowly gain trust makes a lot more sense. And this, of course, is the iconic cabin moment, which this sort of system was implemented in so many Resident Evil games after this, because you end up having 5 do it at one point. I know 6 did it. I can't remember if 7 did it, but 8 brought it back if 7 did not do it. So they love doing this whole survive until the time runs out thing. This was where it started. And it's going to be really fascinating to see how this works now that the Ganados have a much more intelligent AI than what they had in the original game. It's going to be really cool to see, because they're going to be able to strategize and do all kinds of things that they couldn't do in the original. And the new enemy type, which is really cool, because I saw where they had said that that enemy type was not originally going to be in the game. They actually added it last moment as to give more variety with the enemies. So that's kind of cool. And it opens the door for a potential Resident Evil 5 remake down the road, because now they have a character model for the Executioner. Which, I mean, come on, we all know that's happening at some point. Even though people want Code Veronica, odds are you're going to get either Revelations 3, if that will ever happen, or Resident Evil 9, and then after that, 5 Remake. That's probably what it's going to be. The typewriter. Now, I haven't heard anything about ink ribbons, but I hope that there will be ink ribbons, because that was something that was missing in the original. It doesn't have to be in every setting, but maybe like a hardcore setting, have those ink ribbons in there, because that's just something that adds that extra layer of caution when you're playing these sort of games, is having no checkpoints, and only ways that you can save are with ink ribbons. So yeah, that's it. That is the Resident Evil 4 12-minute gameplay trailer for Chapter 5. A lot of fascinating things there. I really love the weather. Like, the rain was one thing, but that wind I thought was really fascinating. And then the stealth mechanic, I can't wait. I'm looking so forward to exploring that stealth mechanic, because it's going to give us so much replay value when we go back around playing this game and everything, because there's going to be so many different ways you can play that. Like, just seeing how long you can go in stealth mode before you get caught, and little things like that. Like, it's going to be a whole lot of fun utilizing that, and all the different mechanics that they've added to it. Character models all look great. Like, I really do like how Leon, Ashley, the Ganados, they all look really cool. The Hunnigan interactions, I love that you can still explore. I'm kind of curious when she'll get cut off this time. Will it be at the start of the castle, or will we communicate with her a little longer on? All that stuff is going to be really cool to see. And I think, what was it, March 24th or something like that this game comes out, so it won't be too much longer. Still curious about a demo. Hopefully we will get one. We've gotten a demo for every other game since Resident Evil 2, so I would expect that we would get a demo not too far away in the future. I mean, we've only got like a month and a half or so until the game comes out, so hopefully a demo will be announced, because I would love to play that on the channel. But as far as the game itself, when it comes out, I'm just sort of debating on if I want to go hardcore immediately, or if I want to play it first run on normal, because I've done it both ways. I did hardcore for 2 and 3 Remake, but with 8 I did it on normal, primarily because I'm just not as good with first person perspective. So with this being over the shoulder, I'll probably do a hardcore run first, but we will see. That's my thoughts on it. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to play it on the channel. And I think with that, I will end it here. See you all on the next one.